Once upon a time, in one small town, there lived a family of 5. The father, Mr. Alec, and his wife, Mrs. Betty, had 3 sons: Chris, the first son, Daniel, the second son, and Emmanuel, the youngest. Out of all the children, Daniel was the quiet one. He didn't talk much, but he worked hard. After finishing secondary school, Daniel decided not to go to university. Instead, he wanted to learn how to fix generators and work with his hands. Life was tough, and he didn't have enough money to start his own shop. So he borrowed 250,000 naira from his older brother Chris, with a promise to pay him back before the year runs out. But by the end of the year, Daniel couldn't pay. Chris got angry and started shouting at Daniel every day. Even though they were all living in their father's compound, peace disappeared. It was a fight today, shouting tomorrow. Soon, Daniel couldn't take it anymore. He moved out quietly and went to live with his close friend, Collins, who had a small apartment in another area. That's when trouble began. When Mr. Alec and his wife, Mrs. Betty, Chris, and Emmanuel found out Daniel had moved into a new place, they didn't ask him anything. Instead, they believed he had used their money to rent a house and was now living big. They were even angrier when they heard that Daniel didn't invite any of his family members to the new house. Instead, they said, "Can you imagine? He's living with a stranger and ignoring his own family, just because he saw money." But the truth was simple. The house was not Daniel's. It belonged to his friend Collins, who allowed Daniel to stay with him out of kindness. Daniel couldn't even afford his own place yet. Sadly, his family didn't know this, and they didn't care to ask. One hot afternoon, Mr. Alec, his wife, Chris, and Emmanuel decided to go to Daniel's new place. They went with one mission: to pack Daniel's things and collect their money back by force. They also planned to chase out the friend who was eating with their son. But on that day, Collins wasn't at home. Only Daniel was inside. When Daniel opened the door and saw them, he was surprised. Before he could even say a word, they pushed him back into the room and locked the door. Neighbors outside started hearing loud noises. Inside, it was a sad and painful scene. Mr. Alec picked up a stool and hit Daniel hard. Mama Betty stomped her feet angrily on him. Chris and Emmanuel took turns punching him until he started bleeding badly. From a nearby window, a smart neighbor recorded everything on video with his phone. Daniel became weak. He couldn't talk or move. When the neighbors broke the door and rushed in, they found Daniel lying on the floor, almost lifeless. They rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. Daniel had passed away. Meanwhile, Mr. Alec and the rest began packing Daniel's things, his clothes, his small bag, even his shoes. They were still angry, but the neighbors were angrier. A group of them gathered and beat up Mr. Alec, his wife, Chris, and Emmanuel right there. Soon, the police arrived and calmed the fight. They arrested Mr. Alec and his family and took them to the station. Daniel's body was taken to the morgue. At the police station, their faces were full of bruises. They looked like people who just came back from a serious football match, one where they were the ball. As they sat there, people didn't feel pity. They watched the video. They saw how a father hit his own son, how a mother stepped on her child, how brothers threw punches until their own blood brother died. Then suddenly, Mrs. Betty began to cry. She was shouting, my son, oh Daniel." But the tears were too late. The family of 5 were all gone, one gone forever out of this wicked world, while the rest bound forever in prison. From this story, we learned that not every fight must be fought. Sometimes, silence is better. You don't use anger and violence to collect money. It can lead to big trouble. Family is important. Don't let money break your home. Greed can destroy. If they had listened, Daniel would still be alive today. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.